Hey there, it's Anthony here. Welcome to this new video. Today I'm going to share with you some tips to alleviate some foot and some pain in the lower limb. Because sometimes when we go to the gym, we do some heavy squats, heavy deadlifts. We can do these exercises without actually knowing that we have some problems in our mobility and flexibility. So here are these two things that are possibly causing you pain in your foot and in your lower limb. These two things are called pronation and supination. So pronation is basically when the foot, the Achilles, curves inward, and supination is when the foot curves outward. And this is very important because if you go to the gym and you do heavy squats and you got an excessive pronation or excessive supination, that can cause a lot of extra stress on your foot. And it's very common for people who even just run or who lift weights recreationally find that they start getting pain on the sides of their shins, and then they don't know why that's happening. And the reason is because of this excessive pronation or excessive supination. So pronation or supination are very normal in walking activities. If you're running up a hill or on a slant, your foot might supinate or it might pronate so you can get up a hill or walk on an angled piece of ground. So the problem is when you go into the weight room or you're doing endurance training where you're running for long distances or a long period of time, you can find yourself getting a lot of pain. So here is the problem. Like I said, pronation, it causes eversion, which means curves, the Achilles tendon curves inward. Supination curves outward. And obviously the effects of excessive supination or pronation is a lot of pain in the lower limb. So if you want to get rid of this pain in your lower limb, you want to get rid of pain on the sides of your shin, then you've got to have good mobility in your calf. So what I recommend is you stretch your calf and you also stretch the muscles in your hips, because the thing is about the feet and the knee and the hip, they all work in synchrony. They all work in an integrated system. They're not separated from each other. So normally if you've got a tight glute, you've got tight psoas major, you've got a tight muscle in the hip region, it can yank on that structure, on the hip bones and the massive bone in your thigh, the femur, and that can actually rotate the femur a slight bit. And because that's rotated, it can cause you to supinate or pronate to compensate for that excessive turn in the femur. So sometimes your hips get really tight because you're sitting all day, or maybe you got a tight spot in your fascia. Fascia is the structure in your body everywhere that keeps everything together. Sometimes that can get tight for some reason. Maybe you got an injury, or maybe your body is just dense in that area because you haven't moved it for a while, you haven't exercised, you haven't stretched, you haven't done anything like that. So sometimes that can occur. You add weight, you never address it, and then you got some serious pain. So it sucks. So basically, to get rid of excessive pronation or supination, you just want to walk in a straight line. You want to make sure your knees are in line with your toes, nice and straight. Your hips are nice and flexible. If you are finding you're having a little bit of tightness in your hips, then I recommend doing some hip stretches. I got a video already on this channel which can help you with your hip stretches. It doesn't have all the hip stretches, but it's really good for balancing out the hips. Normally the major issues with the hips is you've got your big glutes, which is the biggest muscle on the back side of your bum pretty much, and that can pull your femur if it's really tight, and then it can cause your psoas major to be elongated, and can cause your femur to be out of place. So you can stretch your hips, you can stretch your calf, and you can make sure when you're doing your exercise you have your legs straight in alignment. When you have doing your squats, make sure your squats are proper form. When you're doing your deadlifts, make sure they're proper form. Don't let your knees cave in. Don't let any of that happen, because if you do, you might experience pain and it will suck. So that's the video. Pronation, supination, you got foot pain, you've got shin pain. Make sure you don't have these issues. Assess yourself. If you have the issue, stretch your calf, stretch your hip where you feel it's tight, and just start to retrain your feet to the normal position. So that way you can be pain-free, you can lift heavy, look good, feel good, and enjoy your life. So that's the video. Hope you enjoy it. Have a great night, and subscribe if you liked it. Comment if you liked it. If you have any questions, let me know. I will respond to you. So hope you enjoy and watch up and coming videos. Have a great night.